Now that we have Game Torah to help us with our in-game decisions, I wanted to make a video that kind of talks about my thought process for the before game decisions, as far as characters, as far as what am I looking at, and their support cards that I'm going to be choosing. This is not anything that I'm going to say like, oh, this is the correct way for this specific character. More so, instead of like picking meta things, I want to just give you the thought process, because my box is going to look different from yours, and yours is going to look different from whoever else's. So if you don't have that super OP meta card, I want to at least try to give the thought process for understanding how to pick what cards and what legacies and all this stuff that comes before actually playing the game. Once you decide what character you want to play, I'm just going to use Special Week as an example. The first things that I'll always look at are the track distance and style. The track tells me, am I running turf or dirt? Typically, unless you've got a specific dirt character, you're more than likely going to be doing turf. The next thing that I'll look at is distance. When it comes to medium and long, because those tracks are so much longer, you will need a bit more stamina to compensate because you're going to be running for so much longer. Whereas if you're running a sprint or mile, you can get away with less stamina because it's a shorter track, obviously. The key component comes in when you're looking at your style of racing. If you're running front or pace, you're gonna want more stamina because you are trying to run at a certain speed as quickly as you can, and so you're burning through your tank that much quicker. Think of your stamina like your gas tank. If you're going to be running late or end, you're not going to be running as fast as you can the entire time. You're going to be running a little bit slower so your stamina doesn't deplete as quickly. Your gas tank doesn't deplete as quickly. But you will need to compensate for power so that way once that final leg and that final spurt hit, then you can push through and really get from the back all the way to the front and hoping for that win. The other thing that I have in mind before starting a run is, what is my objective for this character? For me, there are two different outcomes. I'm either going to be making a sparking character or I'm going to be making a PvP character. If you're going to be making a sparking character, Game Torah has a beautiful guide for what you can do to make your sparking character. If you come over here and let's just say I use my Tokai Teo, you can use this recommend button and it'll tell you relatively what the best people are to use for Tokai Teo, and then you can also go through and use, who should be good for McQueen and who should be good for Rudolph, and so on and so forth. If you don't understand sparking, please click on this link and read their guide for it. It is in depth and it is such a great guide, and it helped me understand the idea of looping characters, looping/sparking characters. If I'm not going in to make a spark character, then I'm going to be going for a PvP character. So now that I have one of those two objectives in mind, then I'll go into the next portion, which is picking my legacies. If I'm going for a sparking character, you can just follow that guide and it'll tell you exactly what you're looking for, exactly what you're trying to do. If you're going after a PvP character, one of the first things that you're going to be looking for is having the double affinity. Whenever you hit that inspiration during the mid game and like the early late game through your career run, you'll get that opportunity for inspiration. If you have a double affinity, you do have a chance to have a higher stat number given to you. Obviously, it's still going to be random. For instance, my friend showed me that he initially had a 21 power start, and then when he hit his first inspiration, he actually only got 16 power. But on his second one, because he has a double affinity, he was able to get 44 power. So it's still RNG related, but when you have that double circle, you will be getting a chance for more stats. Once I get done looking at the double circle, I'm going to be looking at what each legacy has as far as their stats, their aptitudes, and the skills on there. So for instance, like these are pretty good for Special Week because obviously we want speed, we want power, and we want stamina. And of course we do have decent star rating on it. But if it were to say like wit and guts and then like speed, I would be looking for something different because I don't care about those stats as much as I care about the big 3 stats. So in the PvP making process, I'm looking at what are the best stats that I can get that also have the best aptitudes. You know, I'm looking for medium. I'm looking for pace chasing. I'm looking for turf. If I have things on here like late surger, or if I have dirt, or if I have long, I don't really care for those, so I'm not trying to pick those. If that's just the best that I have, that's the best that I have, and I'll just move on. The other thing is that I do have 3 guest uses every day. So typically you want to try to find whales, or if your friends have really good sparked characters, then you can use those and borrow those, but those are only 3 times per day. After we've taken all of this into consideration and we've finally chosen what our 2 legacies are going to be, we get into the actual quote-unquote fun stuff, difficult stuff, whatever you want to call it. Let's go with Route 1, where we are going to do a sparking character. For spark characters, typically you just want to hit those thresholds so that way you can have a higher chance of getting a 3-star spark. So in my scenario, because I'm using Special Week, I can't use the Special Week speed card because that's just how the game mechanic is. But if I had another speed card, I would definitely be using it here because I want speed, I want stamina, I want power. And so those thresholds are 600 and 1100. At 600, which is just going to be a little bit easier to get, especially when you're making spark characters, that gives you a 5% chance of getting the 3-star spark if it lands on that stat. Earlier today, I had a run where I had like 600 plus speed and 600 plus stamina. It hit stamina, so I had a 5% chance to get a 3-star, and then it just gave me a 1-star because RNG is RNG. Now let's look at Route 2, where we do care about the skills. We do want to get the most optimal bang for our buck with our support cards. So the first thing that I'm going to be looking at is, because I'm medium and because I'm pace, what are these cards going to give me if I choose this card, right? So let's just say, for instance, let's take a look at this Hishi Amazon card. So as a pace chaser and as a medium track runner, I'm not really too concerned about something that gives me something for end closer. I don't really care about end closer, and it does have a pace chaser, so that's not too terrible, but this looks to be more of a heavy card for end runners, right? So I want to look at the skills, and so then I'll take a look at, I don't know, let's just say this Mayano Top Gun card. I'll take a look at these skills, and the main thing that I'm looking for is, can this be a general thing, right? It's not just specifically for pace chaser, it's not specifically for medium. I would love skills that give me a general thing. So corner adept, anybody can use that. Straightaway adept, anybody can use that. Straightaway recovery, anybody can use these skills. So this would be a relatively strong card. If it's a more specialized skill card, I want to just make sure that that is for the thing that I'm doing. The other thing that you want to take a look at that is just good to kind of know is, what does all of this stuff here mean? We take a look at this, and then we got friendship bonus of 21%, increases the effectiveness of friendship training. This is whenever you have that rainbow hit, it is 21% more stats that you are getting. On the mood effect, so mood effect is like your normal, good, great, and then I think it's like awful or bad and then awful. When you have this mood effect 10%, and let's just say we're at great mood, I believe that's like 20% extra. I would believe, I don't know what the math is, but in my head, it would make more sense to just say 10% of the 20, add those together, and then that's what I'll get on top of that. Based on the mood. So this is something that can be pretty important to look at. As far as training effectiveness goes, that's basically this when it's not a rainbow hit. Initial stamina, some cards are going to have initial stats that they're just given to you once you start a run. So some cards like this, hey, that's going to be a great thing. A race bonus, fan bonus, and then specialty priority. This is the other thing that you're looking at. Specialty priority basically says for this card that is a stamina card, it has a certain amount more weight to land on stamina compared to the other ones. Now, there's like some formulas for all this in the background that's going on. It doesn't mean that it's a 25%. It doesn't mean whatever. But because it has priority, that's a good thing for this, because now once I get that bond up, then I can get more frequent friendship or rainbow hits. If we take a look at this Nishino flower card, we still got the friendship bonus. We've got the mood effect, training effectiveness. The initial friendship gauge is when we start out, I don't have to work from 0 and then work my way up. I just get that flat 25 and then I work my way up. So this is also something that's very nice. The only thing that's not so nice about this card is that it doesn't have any specialty priority. So it doesn't have a little bit more weight skewed towards landing on speed. It's kind of just, hey, it's going to land where it lands and it's just going to be pure, you know, RNG. So these are the things that you want to take a look at as well when looking at your cards. So not only do you want to look at your skills, but now you want to look at these things here, because, and I bring this up because I was talking with a friend of mine. We were looking at this Seiyun Sky card and we were like, oh, okay, you know, this isn't too bad. Specialty priority is 50, which is great. That's more than the Mayano Top Gun of 25. However, I'm not really too hot about inner post proficiency. I'm not too hot about long shot, but I was really hot about all of these skills right here. And so, yes, I will lose a little bit more stats just because, you know, hey, the priority isn't as high. Maybe the bonuses aren't as high. But in PvP, when I'm looking for more skills, I will take this card more times than not over the same Sky card, because it's just got better skills. And then of course, once it comes to the friend card, obviously you're gonna just pick based off of what you need. Do you need another speed card? Do you need a support card? Do you have level 50 friend cards that you can use? Those are always gonna be fantastic to use. So you'll just take this and then you'll start your run and now you're good to go. The last thing that I do want to say is that an MLB SR card is 90% of the time going to be better than a 0 limit broken SSR cards. Obviously, there are going to be some exceptions, but if I had more SR cards that are max limit broken, that I've got all their dupes and these little crystals are filled in, I would replace some of these cards with those SRs just because I'm getting so many more benefits from, you know, these things right here, hitting the level 30, hitting the level 45. And with that last bit of information said, that's all I have for my pre-career run thought process. There's so many things, there's so many factors to look into before starting a run. And a lot of this is just hoping to try to get across the thought process for your own box. Because at the end of the day, when you watch videos that say, this is the meta card, you gotta use this. Okay, well, why am I using that? Why is it such a good card? If you can understand the why, then you can figure out everything else tailored to your specific needs and to your specific box. And I'm really hoping that this video kind of sheds a little bit of light on how to get that thought process through. If this video helped you, please let me know down in the comment section below. If you want to see more Umamusume content, hit that subscribe button. I also do stream the game on Twitch at twitch.tv/Tuglo. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.